If you already train correctly and you do nuclei overload training, you're a moron. Coach Greg, and today I'm going to explain to you what nuclei overload training is. Does it work? Is it a bunch of BS? And so on. I have been asked to do this hundreds of times, and I was so annoyed I didn't want to do it. But due to the overwhelming request, I'm doing it. Y'all want to know, apparently you're all morons and you think that it's actually going to do something. So let me explain why it doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. Nuclei overload training is basically, you just pick a body part for, say, a month. You're going to train it and do it like crazy for a month. So let's say biceps. I do 10 sets of 10 every day for a month. Nuclei overload. I'm going to overtrain my biceps, and then it's going to be forced to grow and repair and get bigger. And then long term, it's going to spark my body to be jacked and huge. And then maybe I'll do chest the next month. And then calves the next month, and so on. And it's nuclei overload training. So basically, this is how your muscles get bigger. You train, and it causes micro tears in the muscle, and then your body has to repair it and get bigger. So it's kind of like putting cement on the broken wall, and then the cement hardens, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. The way muscles grow doesn't change based on how you train. It all grows and repairs in the same way. So when you think about nuclei overload training, it's just training, but it's overtraining. So rather than calling it nuclei overload training, say, let's overtrain. Overtraining. Is overtraining the secret to growing jacked arms? No! Ideal training is the secret to growing ideal size. So what does the research say? 10 to 20 hard sets for a muscle per week. 10 to 20. So if you just say, oh, well, I don't need to do that. I'm going to do 10 hard sets every single day for a month because that'll just spark growth. What does that equal to? Well, that's 70 sets. You're supposed to do 10 to 20, and you decide, well, I'll do 70. I'm going to go crazy for this month. And then I'll just spark growth, and I'll have to be forced to grow. No, you'll be forced to overtrain. If it was really true that nuclei overload training worked, then that's saying overtraining works. Overtraining does not work. But people will say, no, you're wrong, Greg. You're wrong. Do you know why? Because I have examples of people that overtrain and they look pretty good. A lot of people overtrain. Oh, well, look at this cyclist. Their legs are huge and they ride bikes hard all the time. So, if they rode bikes less hard all the time and lifted with weights properly, 10 to 20 sets, they would even have bigger legs. Yeah, I can list lots of examples of people that overtrain all the time. Do I see swimmers who are all jacked? Do marathon runners look all jacked? Do cyclists who cycle all the time look all jacked? No! Who looks the most jacked? People who train 10 to 20 hard sets a week. Properly in the gym. So why does nucleus overload training then work for some people? Because some people will swear by it. They'll prove it. They'll measure their arms and they'll show you after and they'll say, look, see, it worked because I proved it. Science is BS. I proved it because I did it on my body. Well, I'm going to explain to you why it worked on you, and I explain to you why it would have been better to do it the right way. A, if you train every day for a month, you're going to have some swelling. You're essentially going to be injuring your muscle, and it's trying to repair with swelling, inflammation, water retention, not actual bicep tissue, okay? You can get punched in the face, and you get swelling. Does that mean you grew your muscles? No, you punch your face and you're swollen. You ever watch the UFC, how they look after a fight? Does that look like they put on a bunch of muscle on their face, or does it look like they got slapped around for half an hour? Next, if you train like a baby, oh, RP 3, 4, 5, yeah! I don't want to train hard because I'm natural. If you train like that, then you're not optimizing your gains already. You're undertraining. You're training like a baby. You're not putting in the work. You're just going around looking at people, which is fine if you want to do that. But if you're looking to maximize gains, you need to train harder than last time. So then you say, oh, I read this thing, nuclei overload training. Well, I'm going to try that because I can't gain big arms because I'm natural and I don't have good genetics. So then you say, oh, I'm going to go every single day. I'm going to do 6 or 7 sets or 10 sets, whatever. You're going to train your body part every day for a month, and you're going to do a lot of volume. Train harder. Then you're like, wow, at the end of the month, it worked. It did work. Why? Because you were doing such a poor job of training before, and now you're doing a poor job, but the poor job with more training is better than the poor job with less training. It's better to do 70 fairly hard sets than nothing. It's better to do 70 hard sets than 7 sets of warm-ups. So guess what? Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to do nucleus overload training, you said, I'm going to watch Coach Greg's video where he said train harder than last time, and I'm going to do 10 to 20 hard sets this month for my biceps, and then let's see what happens. They would have got more gains than the nucleus overload training. Does that make sense? So, if you're training and you're not getting results and you train like a freaking baby, try training harder. Don't have to do 70 sets. You don't have to go to the gym and do biceps for 8 hours and say, oh, I'm nucleus overload training. No, just train properly. Train effectively. Follow some freaking science and research and train the proper way. Train harder than last time with the proper exercises, with the proper intensity, and just do that. It's not a gimmick. Why do coaches insist that this is going to work? Why do coaches insist that this is going to work? Why do they include it in their plans? Why do they suggest this? Oh, coach, I got lagging body parts. What do I do? Well, let's try this. Why? To sell programs, to get views, to convince you that what you're doing is wrong and that what they have is some magical new training system so you hire them. It's the same thing as why people keep creating stupid diets. Oh, you're not losing weight? You're not getting lean? It can't be that you don't put the fork down. It can't be that you eat too many calories. It's that you eat the wrong types of food at the wrong types of time. They say this. They don't tell them, oh, you're just eating too much. They say, oh, it's cortisol. It's your bedtime is wrong. You wake up and eat wrong. You should have fasted. You should have fasted longer. You should have broke the fast differently with this kind of food. It's anything that you want to hear besides you eat too much food. Put the fork down and eat less calories. That's this. The coach should be saying, you don't train hard enough. You don't use the right exercises. You don't do enough of what you should be doing to grow muscle in the first place. So let's throw out nucleus overload training. Do that and you'll make the gains. And then they start doing it at random because they don't push enough effort anyway. And all of a sudden they're putting effort and then they make gains. They're only making gains because they're not training correctly. If you already train correctly and you do nuclei overload training, you're a moron. What's wrong with you? Why would you change doing what's right to do what some stupid person or whatever suggested to do? You don't do it because you're not that stupid. Thank goodness you watched this video and didn't try this stupid stuff. Subscribe, click the bell button, and don't nuclei overload train. Proper overload train. Train harder than last time. Stop making this so complicated. It's not complicated. It's simple. So simple. I have a cookbook for sale. I got a training book at home. Whatever you need. You need to know how to eat. You need to know how to train. I got stuff for you. Buy it, purchase it, listen to it, and stop doing all this nonsensical stuff. Every time I read something about nuclei overload training, I'm like, why are people so stupid? Why do they just think that overtraining is the way to train? It makes no sense. It's almost as bad as I'm going to eat more calories and then I'll lose weight because I'm not eating enough. I'm overweight because I don't eat enough. No, stop it. All right, GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro on Instagram. follow me, check me out. Watch one of these other videos because you don't know enough yet. Keep watching. And until next time, I am out. Oh, you're not eating? You're not... Oh, you're...